Does your life suck? Well, I'm going to share how my life sucked and what I did to try and fix it, and if I really fixed it or not. Welcome to motherfucking Scott the Truck Driver live and shit. Holy shit, alright, yeah. Welcome to a YouTube fucking live broadcast and shit. So, today, well, first let me say welcome to those of you who have shown up live, and I will do the best I can to keep up with chat, but let me get through my content for those that couldn't be here. And then try and hold your questions till the end of the video, or the end of the content, because I will open it up to go through the comments. Some things I'm doing differently this time is I'm not going to scroll all the way back to the beginning of the comments. I'll try and look every now and then while I'm going through my shit, but I really need to get through what I want to get through before I can concentrate on the comments. Of course, super chats, I will, of course, interrupt for those. However, once I open it up, then I will, in real time, 30-second delay time, I'll try to go through your questions and comments, and they don't have to be necessarily topic related. They could be related to any, questions about stuff that you've been, that's been burning about asking me about, with the channel that maybe you commented and I didn't get to it or whatnot. So also I want to point out that this has been brought to you by my patrons on Patreon, who have been very supportive in trying to drive most of my content toward the channel for everybody, not just them. And I'm experimenting. The daily motherfucking vlogs are part of that deal. And, it's just, they've really helped me develop this and continue to help me develop it. I put out votes for them to, try and steer me in different directions that I'm considering, and I rely on them to help me give you guys a better channel. So, let me know in the comments here as well what you think if you're not a patron. But let's get on with the shit. All right. I was a miserable fuck for the longest time in my life. I ate sugar, carbs, the worst food ever. I grew up well into my late 30s on the standard American shithole diet. I drank my way through the 20s. You know, I was the wake up in the field motherfucker. I suffered from severe depression throughout most of my early adulthood, through the 20s and 30s. And I also, you know, occasionally had ups back then, but I was way more in the depressed range. I was bouncing from relationship to relationship. I had a lot of failed relationships. I was miserable as fuck. I chose trucking after being in the military for 10 years. And, you know, I gave a lot of my time over the years to get more money, you know, to get shit tons of money. So a couple of years ago, I was weighing 255 pounds, busting my ass in the trucking industry, depressed as fuck, miserable. I had just broken my leg from drinking excessively and doing stupid shit while drinking excessively. So I broke my leg and was down for the count. And then I got it in my head out of almost pure boredom to start this fucking channel. And, you know, welcome Ronald. Ronald Skolnick is one of our producers from Patreon. Anyways, continuing. You know, a couple years ago, I started this channel initially as a trucking vlog. You know, I wanted to express myself online, you know, on my own little space with my own little community, which is what drove me to do that. And initially, I was going to talk about trucking. I was miserable as a truck driver. I fucking hated it, all right? You know, there were times where I was like, okay, I get to see the country. Okay, I get to go here. Okay, I get to go there. But I don't get to stay very long. I don't get to do the things I really want to do when I'm in these different fucking cities and these different fucking, you know, beautiful places that I got to see over the years. I had to see it all from the highway and truck stops. And, you know, it wasn't until the last year of trucking when, you know, Uber was a thing and, you know, that I really got to go out. But even then, I still didn't have time to enjoy. So I was pretty miserable. I've lost several relationships to that industry. And I spent shit tons of time selling my fucking life away to the corporate world. And that's what trucking is. You are a corporate fucking slave. They want all of your fucking time. They want all of your freedom. They don't want you going home very often, and they resist it. They don't want you taking months off, which would make sense for a job where you're out on the road all the time. But they get pissy when you do that because you're not cranking out the freight for them. And you know, so I've done all of these things in my life to try and become wealthy because I thought wealth equaled fucking happiness. And I enslaved myself to the corporate world to have more wealth, to have more money coming in. Meanwhile, I didn't have fucking time to enjoy it. I missed out on good friendships, good relationships because I was out there by myself selling my life away for money. So why the hell did I do that? Well, I wanted what everybody fucking wants when they want fucking money. They want the house. They want all the fucking gadgets and gear. They want, you know, obviously a place to have a family, and they want the white picket fence and, you know, the 2 cars and the 2-car fucking garage, and, you know, what we're told we should aspire to get happiness. Meanwhile, it's essentially pigeonholing us into this corporate slavery fucking system in order to get all of that shit, and it's always just a little bit out of reach. And over the years, it's become even more out of reach unless you're willing to enslave yourself further with debt. So the first thing I did to try and improve my life, and this was prior to me losing weight, was I decided to attack my personal finance. I wanted more of that money I was out there, you know, making to go in my fucking pocket so that I can do fun shit when I have time off. You know, so on and so forth. So I went ahead and got debt-free. I paid off most of my debts, if not all of them. I do have 1 or 2 small debts right now that are manageable, but by no means soul-crushing. I can pay them off within this year, if I put my head to the grindstone and my ass in the Uber and so on and so forth. And that's what I'm working on right now, is becoming completely debt-free again. But for the most part, I've been debt-free for quite a while now. It's got to be 13 years that I've gone debt-free. But I jumped on the credit bandwagon when I first got out there. And I ran up my credit. And of course, I wasn't making a shit ton of money as a little E2 in the goddamn Air Force, E3 eventually. Oh, that was a big raise. And, I eventually had to file bankruptcy. And then from there on, I couldn't get credit. So I was like, well, fuck that. But then eventually they try to rope you back in, as they often do. So the first thing I did to improve my life was to become debt-free. And that also meant not accumulating new debt. So how the fuck you do that? Well, you make a pad for yourself. You make an emergency fund. I also discovered Dave Ramsey. He was on the radio a lot, and I started to listen to what he had to say more and more. I'm not a big religious guy, so he's a very religious guy. However, the common sense things he was saying for money management and personal finance made sense, except he had the goal of you becoming wealthy. I just wanted freedom. I wanted more time, and at the time I wanted a little more money in my pocket instead of having to funnel it out to various things. I still maintained a household. I still, paid rent for a while. And then I very quickly realized I don't want to do that anymore, so I went on the road full time. Sorry, almost spilling shit. And, sorry, I just looked at chat. Hello, everybody in chat. See, I get distracted. By the way, Ebeck said something, how do I send this guy some money? You just click the little $ thing. It's a super chat thing, and you can donate through YouTube. But, I'm not really here for that. I'm here to test out the live show idea. Anyways. Now, what I was saying is, I went out and lived in the truck, to avoid that. I put all my shit in storage, but then I was paying for storage. And, I was doing all of this so that I could eventually get a nicer place, once I did settle down. And I did eventually come off the road a couple more times and tried to get a place, usually in a relationship. And I was spinning my wheels. I was doing all of this work, spending all this time, even when I had local jobs, it was 60, 70 hours a week in trucking. And I was selling out, my entire fucking existence so that I could make $60,000 a year. What the fuck is this light doing? All right. We're going to have some lighting issues because my battery operated light is flashing weirdly at me. So give me a second here for these technical live difficulties. All right, that's a little better, a little blown out, but oh well. So, I was selling my life away to pay for a place to live, a place, with all of this shit in it, with all the latest computer gadgets, a lot of which I would haul around on the road with me anyway. As technology improved, I was able to, miniaturize a lot of that with laptops and shit. But back in the day, I used to haul around a fucking full-blown PC in the truck because I was a PC gamer, and I am again, because thanks to the whole addiction thing, but you can watch back to figure that out. I very quickly realized that I was selling my life away, and I didn't want to do that anymore. But then I also realized I was fat and sick and drinking entirely too much. This journey is post a few years ago. I realized that I was pre-diabetic, 255 pounds, drinking Mountain Dew, drinking Gatorade, eating Pop-Tarts and cookies and cakes like they were free. Pizza was like fucking food group for me. Yet I felt like shit all the time. My roller coaster had gotten worse. I would get crushing depressions that would last 2, 3, 4 days sometimes multiple weeks, depending on what's going on with my life. And then I would get these manic little highs where I would have this stream of thought that wasn't necessarily fucking rational or a good thing, but it did drive me to do a lot of productive things, which is, I guess, a bonus. But I had the whole fucking up-down thing going. I had to take naps every day. I got exhausted, fatigued, miserable. I would get stressed out from all kinds of shit and work and relationships. And I was a fucking mental mess, a physical mess, a financial fucking waste, because I was making all this money and I was essentially just spending it, you know, in restaurants and going to bars and drinking it away and, you know, buying all this tech, which I only used maybe 20% of. You know, I would buy a piece of tech and it would just sit there on a fucking shelf or in the truck or back home while I'm on the road or in the storage unit once I was on the truck full time. And I completely fucking realized that this was a bad motherfucking idea. So I started with my health. I quit Mountain Dew. I lost 10 pounds just by doing that. I went from 255 to 245. So as I started to research, I eventually came to that let's eat less and move more and shit. And try that. Go to a gym, became a member at Bally's. But I started to research. I started to say, what's the best way to lose weight? And then I fucking stumbled upon intermittent fasting. And I was like, holy shit, I gotta not fucking eat and I'll lose weight? Why didn't I think of that before? It's true. You know, I stumbled on intermittent fasting and then I became a goddamn advocate for it because I tried it. It sucked at first. I fucking hated it at first. I was starving. I wanted to eat the fucking shit out of sugar and carbs and whatever the fuck I could get my hands on. And during my eating window, I would binge constantly. It was a bitch when I first started. Because I was doing it all wrong. I was trying to go right into the fucking 24-hour fast. You know, I listened to Brad Pilon and his 5-2 fucking diet. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that twice a week. And it was a bitch. I would overeat. I would overcompensate. However, I still lost weight when I started this. So when I saw that it was working, I continued to research. I continued to try and improve that aspect of my life. What can I do? You know, I've always, you know, when I was in the Air Force, I was in maintenance. And our job was to figure out what the fuck is wrong. Why isn't it working? And we would try swapping out different parts to figure out why the shit wasn't working. We weren't advanced engineers. We didn't get down into the wires. They had a whole other, you know, shop that opened the boxes. But we were out there to figure out which box was fucked up. And that's kind of my approach to life. Which box is fucked up? And what do I got to do to replace it? So it's not fucked up. So the whole system works again. And it was very quickly I realized I was just spinning my wheels at the gym. I really wasn't helping my weight loss at all. In fact, I was helping my hunger hormones and all of that get out of control. So I fucking continued to research. What do I do? And I dropped out of the gym. I stopped exercising all the time. And I was driving a truck 60 hours a week, sitting on my ass. So I became obsessed with exercising on the truck at one point. And then I realized quickly I don't have enough time because I'm busy working all the time. So I said, fuck the exercise and just did my normal thing. When I had time off, I would go hiking and, you know, do various physical activity, but nothing strenuous. No, you know, marathon running or sitting on a fucking treadmill for so many fucking hours. And I eventually figured out that I need to, you know, focus on diet. And then, you know, and at first I was with the MyFitnessPal, making sure I didn't overdo it on the calories during my eating window. And I was, you know, just as anal as a lot of people are today that are low calorie, eat less, move more, weight loss people. And I was doing all of that. And I'm like, it's got to be easier than this. And so I continued to research. I spent shit tons of time. I cannot even quantify the amount of fucking hours I've spent reading studies, listening to lectures, watching fucking presentations, so on and so forth, reading books, you know, doing everything I could to tackle this problem so that I can flawlessly lose weight without having to do all of the extra shit that we do nowadays. Because, if I think back to our evolution, there was no fucking MyFitnessPal. There weren't diet supplements. There weren't fucking fuckmasters to pound on. It was all in our hormones. It all took care of it. And over time, you will see, if you go back to my videos, I shifted my belief structure around fasting, and then I got into the ketogenic diet. And the reason I went to the ketogenic diet is because with fasting alone, with the standard American diet, I was ravenously hungry regularly, constantly. So, once again, troubleshoot mode. Where's the box? It's not fucking working. Let's take that box out. So I went and researched how not to be hungry. Turns out, relies heavily on the endocrine system and your hormones and the balance. And what diet do we know that does that? The ketogenic diet. So I tried it. I did my first keto adaptation, all while doing fasts intermittently, either 23-hour fast, 1 meal a day protocol. I threw in some 72s, and I think I even did a 5-day fast at one point. I would still do cheat days, so I didn't get all the way there, though. I would do cheat days like, once a week. Every once in a while, I'd have a carb day. Little did I know, I wasn't doing my liver any favors. That's something I've further researched in the past 3-4 months. I've gotten obsessed with fixing my liver issue because it's the last bastion of fat on my body, and it turns out to be the most important one. So, the ketogenic diet, fasting, was all part of my physical health being fixed, and I have fixed it. For the most part. Still trying to get all the way there with the liver, but I'm literally within 3/4 of an inch from being where I want to be around the belly area. I've given up the goal. I used to want to see my abs and do all of that. I'm 41. I'm turning 42 soon. And you know what? Fuck that shit. I don't care anymore, And a lot of, relationship issues have led me to that. I need to work on me. I need to work on my happiness and contentment and not rely on someone else for it. Which leads me to the next box I found that was fucked up that I have to fix. So I began researching mental health, moods, and the biochemistry behind them. Because I noticed that all of these things about my health have been biochemistry driven. Hormones, the way our brain interacts, dopamine, serotonin, these are all things that are heavily motivated by the foods we eat. Just like drugs. And sugar is the worst fucking drug ever. Just want to take a moment to say hi to everyone in chat. For those of you who have just joined us, I'm going to address the chat after, so save your questions, the ones that you want answers to anyway. I mean, talk amongst yourselves, obviously, but once I get to that part, we'll get there. Believe me, I'm getting there. I'm just going through some backstory on how fucked up I've been and how I woke up from it. So, I started to realize that if there's a problem with something on myself that, that I don't like, that, needs to be fixed, I started to realize I could go out and figure out how to do it. That all of the knowledge necessary to tackle any problem, like your toilet's broke, and you want to fix your fucking toilet, you can go on the internet and figure out how to fix a toilet. You can even get a step-by-step fucking tutorial on how to get the shit out of the fucking pipe. Well, I wanted to get the shit out of my pipes, so I went on the internet and fucking took to it, got the knowledge, got the things to try, and then tried them. And I'm still doing that. And I'm almost addicted to that process. I like figuring out what's wrong with my life and figuring out ways to fix it, A, on my own, and B, by learning. And that led me to the first thing I came across was minimalism. Because how to reduce stress. Turns out, the less shit you have, the less stress you have. just like the less debt you have, the less stress you have. So I started to research minimalism, and it was solving a lifestyle issue. I was wasting a lot of time to make money on things that waste a lot of time. I would buy shit, use it for a little while, and then it would sit. Or, I would spend money on things that weren't necessary. I would, keep shit tons of furniture and shit tons of stuff, even though I hardly get time to enjoy any of it. And, at the time I was in a relationship when I was starting to research minimalism. And then out of the blue, that fucking relationship ended. So, I was like, this is fate or some shit. I just got kicked to the curb. Granted, I could have kept on living the same lifestyle. She did want me to stay and keep renting the house. But I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity. I can make fucking lemonades out of shit. Isn't that how that goes? Anyways, I decided that I'm going to go with this. I'm going to try this minimalism shit. If it doesn't work, I'll just buy more shit. Not a hard thing to do. So I started getting rid of shit. I got rid of all my furniture, with the exception of like a desk and a few other small pieces, enough to fit in one room. I got rid of most of my clothes. I have 1 week's worth of clothes. I wear the same shit more than one day every once in a while. Hey, who gives a shit? I don't have to think as much when I get dressed. I don't have to do laundry every fucking day, because I only have a set amount of clothes. I do it once a week, and then it's one load instead of 10. That's more time. It's more money because I'm not buying shit tons of clothes. And if the clothes, get fucked up, I would just take them and go and buy another cheap piece of clothing to replace it. Now granted, I'm not going to be setting the fucking fashion world on fire. But it's kind of, it's things like that. And then I got rid of most of my shit. Enough shit I've gotten rid of that if I need to pick up and move, it's going to take me an hour, maybe 2, to load all my shit up and go. And that freedom, that not having that weight dragging you down, I became infatuated with that. And to this day, though I haven't achieved true minimalism, I still have too much shit even for this one room. I have downsized my living expenses. I don't go shopping as much as I used to. I used to go to the mall all the fucking time. Walking through Best Buy. Doing all of that shit. Constantly watching videos on product reviews and things that I wanted to do, mainly tech-based. And I still am guilty. For example, this fucking thing. Many of you have seen on my channel, this was while I was trucking, so I was kind of going minimalist by living in the truck. But I wanted this for the channel. This is a 360 camera. It's the Verb 360. You guys took a shit on my 360 videos, but I had this thing, I was into VR and, and all of that. So I bought this fucking thing. You want to know how much this fucking thing is? $800. You know how many times I've used it? I've made like 3 videos with it. I haven't turned this fucking thing on in 2 months. I'm going to have to sell it. That's what minimalism is. It's realizing what brings value to your life, what you actually use, and getting rid of all the shit that you don't use. And every once in a while, you should stop and take an inventory of your life and say, I'm not using that. And then sell it. And if you can't sell it, donate it. Give it to somebody who will use it. I did a lot of that. I gave some shit away. I gave drones away. I gave shit to people I thought would use it more than me. Because, A, I didn't want to spend the time it took to sell it and get, hardly any money for that time. And I liked bringing a little happiness to someone else. So that's kind of what I had to do. Don't worry, that's 360s. I just noticed Ron had mentioned in the chat about the 360 videos. I still will experiment. I still like putting experimental content up in with these kinds of videos. So you haven't seen the last of it, but I'm waiting a while before I tackle that again. I want the technology to go up a notch because I'm really not happy with the video quality. Anyways, not to get distracted. My point is to get rid of shit you don't need. Now, I was going to get rid of this fucking thing because I hardly used it. But then, I have a smart TV that I screencast to, and I learned that it's nice to be able to use that to do that. It also has a pen so I can write shit and draw shit and do business things while I'm away from, home, so to speak. So, it's stuff like that. It's figuring out what you use, what you don't use, and getting rid of the shit that you don't use. Because you know what? That's going to free up money. It's going to free up time. And with those two things free, if it ever comes that you really want that and you're going to use it, and you always ask yourself that now when you buy shit as a minimalist, am I going to use this? When can I use it? How much time do I have to use it? Is it going to bring value to my life before you even buy the shit? That way it keeps you from buying shit that's going to sit on a fucking shelf. So the minimalist thing, that freed up a shit ton of income. I was still trucking. I was making $60,000 a year and had no bills because I was living in the truck. No debt because I could just pay for shit. I could be like, here you go. And no time. So I was like, the fuck am I doing this for? I don't have any time yet. I got all this extra money because I don't fucking, have all of these bills. I got rid of all my shit. I don't have to pay rent. I live in a truck. So I had all of this extra income, but I still didn't have any fucking time. And you know what? Time was important to me. Because I know we don't get a shit ton of it. We could die any day. And then will we be happy that we pissed 70 hours a week away? Even if we had shit tons of money to do more expensive shit? So I got to thinking. I was like, okay, new box. Motherfucking time. I need some motherfucking time. How do I get more motherfucking time? Not working as much. And you know what? I realized I had all this disposable income. Wouldn't I rather have the time than that pile of money? And I by this time I had already experimented with forming a business in photography. YouTube was slowly growing. And, there were other streams of income trickling in while I was trucking, but I couldn't take the time to grow and nurture those, as many of you who have been subscribing know. So I made the leap one day, and it was mainly because my boss pissed me off, because I had already been mulling over when I'm going to do this, and I was just trying to build more of an income pad. But then one day my boss just pissed me the fuck off. So I told him, fuck you, and called him a fucking asshole on a recorded call played before the manager. And he goes, yeah, you did call him a fucking asshole. I said, well, because he is one. And, I literally that day took all of my shit off the truck, put it in my shitty pickup truck, and got myself a room, a couple $100 a month, with the option to work instead of paying to. And here I am with much more time. I dedicate so much more time to this channel than I was able to on the road. I was able to do research on the road because I could listen to shit all fucking day, which helped increase my knowledge. So basically I was getting paid to research. But I've traded away that high income for a much lower one. I don't make a shit ton of money anymore. I can make $200 or $300 a week with the part-time Uber. I make about $300 a month currently on YouTube, though I'm worrying about that with the whole ad revenue bullshit that's been going on. I've even had some demonetized videos today that I saw, and they were the old fucking vlog ones, and they were mainly ones that, really had nothing to do with the topic of weight loss anyway. But my first vlog is sitting there, and, I leave that up because it shows how fat I was and where I was in life before I started all this. So I left that up. I got rid of the other ones. One of them had no offensive. It was an accident that happened in front of me, and I might have swore during it or whatever. But my point is I don't know how reliable ad revenue is going to be in the future of this channel. It's why I started the Patreon. That's why I want to do these live shows a lot more, is to give you guys the opportunity to help fund the time it takes to make content. However, if that YouTube ad revenue goes away, it doesn't mean the channel goes away. It just means less time that I can put into it because I have to make up that income. And thankfully, it's not a heavy-duty income at this point. It is enough to survive. If I want to do something fun, I just work harder on Uber. And if it got to be where the ad revenue went away, I would just have to make a little less content and a little more Uber or other part-time work if something happens and I can't do Uber. But my point is, I want to be my own boss. I want to be able to dedicate my time to more fulfilling work, which is helping you guys out with your weight loss, with your life improvement, with your lifestyle, with your mental health issues, because I'm doing these things for myself. And everything I present on here is stuff that I've dealt with, stuff that I'm guilty of, stuff that I wanted to fix about myself. And I'm sharing the knowledge because I wish somebody would have done that, for me earlier in my life. I'm hoping to reach some younger folks with this who were pretty ignorant of what they're doing to themselves as they grow up. I see it all the time. And they're making the same fucking stupid mistakes I made in life. And it bothers me. So I put this out there in case one of them wakes up. A lot of us that are here are in the same middle age bracket, according to the demographics of who watches this channel. And basically, we're reversing the fucked up shit we did. But if we could start to get to the point where we could prevent that, that is fulfilling work, even if it is only $300 a month, and that's where it stays. Ultimately, I'd like to make more money on YouTube so that I could drop Uber, I can drop these little side gigs of photography that I do, and focus here. And that's the goal with that. So I'm still working to improve my life by doing the work I love, even if it doesn't pay as well, by having the time I need to do the things I want to do. I'm going on vacation in November for my birthday. I'm, getting out hiking on like a Thursday. When the fuck could you do that? I'm working on that video, by the way, but I just haven't had time to get to it this week because I've been doing live shows and Ubering to try and make some money. So these are all things I'm doing currently, including tackling the mental health, which has fallen into line with the ketogenic diet. I'm, experimenting with ADF and keto to try and keep my health going forward. And, these are all things that you can try to improve your life. So in summary, I would say cut lifestyle. Even if you can't get down to the lifestyle level that I'm at, because you have a family, because you have a significant other, I understand that. But I'm willing to bet if you took a real good hard look at the amount of shit you have, the amount of debt you have, the amount of lifestyle that wastes your time, because essentially you have to give time, which gives you the money, to buy the shit that you don't fucking need. Turns out Fight Club was onto something when I watched that movie. And I just was too dumb to fucking catch on at the time. We work jobs we hate, this is a quote, to buy shit we don't need. And I think everybody, no matter how big you've allowed your life to become, can start weeding that shit down. And you'll notice when you do that the stress, the pressure, the, issues just start to fall away. And you free up more of that income you're trading your time for in the process. And then you got to evaluate, do you want to keep that level of money coming in? Even though you freed yourself, do you want to keep giving that time away when you're getting out of it is more money that you might not necessarily need as much of? And I know a lot of people aren't going to like that. They're going to be like, fuck, I just want to free up the income. I don't care about the loss of time. But I'm at the point now where time is more valuable to me than money, than, really expensive gadgets. I'm working on it because it's really hard. I almost upgraded this fucking thing. This is the S8 Plus. Note 8 came out. I could easily go down and get myself some more debt even though this will be paid off pretty soon, you know, I stopped myself. I asked myself, is that worth it for me? And I could not say yes, because this is doing everything I need it to do, you know, and I don't take pictures with this. You know, I'm a photographer. I have a bunch of these fucking things, you know, and so it would be redundant for me to buy a phone that has a slightly better camera in it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I also eventually did want to become, you know, more mobile and live, you know, van life or, you know, a tiny house at some point. However, life's not cooperating with me in that regard, because I do have family things and friend things that kind of keep me grounded here for the time being. But mark my words, if any time that goes away, I'm going to get out there and be a true minimalist. But for now, a small, modest room, you know, all of the comforts I need within that room. I got the internet, I got a laptop, I got stuff to game with, I got the stuff to do these videos with, I got the stuff to do my photography with, and I don't really need much more than that at home. So then it becomes about, what kind of activities can I do? So, and, you know, it also frees up the way I've structured my life. It gives me time to be able to go traveling. You know, even though I'm coming back here, I'm kind of rooted here. I do plan on next year doing wilderness fasts, getting out to different places, seeing different towns, different cities, different events, different concerts. I like concerts, you know, and, you know, there's a lot of really good concerts. Like, I've been dying to see Rammstein for fucking years. You know, they did 2 shows here recently, and I didn't make it because I was working still. But damn sure, if next time I hear they're coming here, I'm going to try and make the time and produce the money to go, which requires trading some time. But to me, that's a trade. And that's what I do with my work now. I look at something I want or something I want to do. I evaluate whether or not that brings value to my life, whether or not I'm actually going to use it if it's a physical purchase, how much I'm going to enjoy it. And then I go out and make just enough money to make that shit happen, which if you're an entrepreneur, you can do. If you have full control over your income and you are your own boss, you can determine how much time you give away for the things you want to do. And that kind of freedom and control is priceless, even if you're lower income. Being able to say, I only need to do this amount of work this week because I have this bill or this thing that I need to do. And that's how I live my life now. Oh, cell phone bills this week? Guess what? Gotta work a little extra to pay for that because that brings value to my life. Although sometimes I argue against the amount of value that brings to my life. It is an essential part of my business, my research, and whatnot, and it allows me to do things mobily instead of being tethered here. So these are the things that I've done to improve. So, alrighty, that's my spiel, and if you even try a quarter of the things I've been talking about, and you start to see the benefits, that is how I suggest you could improve your life. We all know the ketogenic diet levels your mood. It goes a long way. It's not the end-all be-all. Reducing stress, taking care of your lifestyle issues. And the more you do this stuff to self-improve, the more the things start to fall into place like they have for me. You know, I have more fulfilling, better friendships and relationships now. I have the time to do things with people. I have the time to go hiking, to go out and see nature. And I'm my own worst enemy in this regard because I do have a work ethic that keeps me working a lot. I still work over 40 hours a week between all 3 endeavors. I'm trying to get better about that. I'm decided, fuck it, weekends are mine. And even though I'll still take a camera with me and film, I'm not doing as much comment and, you know, editing and blogging and, you know, all of the online shit. I do find myself scrolling through the comments, but that's pretty much where I'm at. and I'm continuing this journey, and I hope you guys keep coming along on this journey going forward. So let's see how we're doing on time. So we got about 20 minutes or so where I can finally pay attention to the chat. Let's see. I'm going through. Chris H. I'd be happy just living in a small room. What's stopping you? Just do it. That's what you got to think. Even if you live in a household, you can still be a minimalist. Even if you live with maximalists, you can still reduce, the time and the amount of shit you have and increase the amount of available funds you have. But bills and debt are going to weigh you down in this process. And I do understand that it's not an option for everybody to get rid of those things. But if you're single, there's really not a lot holding you back. Pay off the debt, whittle away at it, and then once it's gone, downsize, get rid of a bunch of shit, find the cheapest room you can find. Maybe you have to move in a roommate situation like I have, and, just do what you got to do. And that frees up more time because you don't have to make as much money to support your life. Obviously, getting into van life and getting into tiny houses is taking it to some next level shit, where you don't have any living expenses other than keeping and maintaining your vehicle, which you would be doing anyway if you have a vehicle. So, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, tiny house. Nick wrote, yeah, tiny houses I'm in. Yes, that is the retirement goal. When I settle down and I don't want to travel anymore, that'll be something I work towards, is finding a small place to park a tiny house, and getting a tiny house and working to make that happen. Trading my time away in the appropriate amount to make that happen. That's a goal of mine as well. Let's see what else we got. How tall are you? And give your weight, but do not know ratio. I am 6 foot tall. This morning I was 189.1, I think it was. I don't know. I regularly write a blog every morning with my numbers, and my waist measurement was 36.75 inches around the belly. But I regularly post that on my Patreon every morning for my patrons. So that's where that is. But I do try to throw updates in here with the subscribers. Just hard to keep up as much. So, wish I could hike during the week, Nick wrote. Not as a trucker. That's a true story. However, if you got time, you could probably walk an hour out and back from wherever you're parked. But it's not as good as getting out in nature. There have been times where I was in Nova Scotia as a trucker, and I got out there and was able to go hiking, and I actually hiked to go hiking. Like, I hiked to a place to hike, and then I hiked all the way back, and I was about ready to drop dead at the end of that fucking hike. But there is opportunity. It's just the time. They don't give you time. They give you 10 hours off. You got to fucking sleep. And that leaves you 2 hours. You got to spend an hour washing your ass or eating or whatever the fuck it is you got to do. And then you get an hour left to do something else. And sometimes you only get 8-hour break too. Steve Ingram, I will contribute soon. Bills are weighing me down. I have 3 fucking dependents, so taking on a 4th is not doable right now. By no means am I obligating anybody to support the channel financially. If you have the means, you can. If you don't, I'm still doing the content here for ads. And even if the ad revenue goes away, I will still put the content here. It'll just make things a little less. I won't be able to do as much, but I don't, it's nice. I do appreciate my patrons, and they have allowed me to put a lot more time into this than I otherwise would be able to. Because that, believe it or not, when you're living in as low expense as I am, that $300 a month total between ad revenue and Patreon, that covers majority of my bills. My cell phone bill, my Adobe bill for being able to edit the videos, it covers a lot. I pretty much work for food and any other activities I want to do, but the majority of my bills are low enough that that covers it. And that means a lot to me. So, oh, I got a super chat from a producer. Wow, Ron. You know, you don't got to do that. You already are a patron, you know. So, but thank you. I'm really not pushing the Patreon as much this month, because I do believe, you know, there's a lot of people in need right now between Las Vegas and, you know, I realize you guys want me to grow the channel, but you know, I don't mind a little slow growth if you guys want to help out other people as well that I believe are in more need than I am right now. But it does warm my heart that you guys do help out when you guys do. So thank you, Ron, and your contributions to the channel have been epic. Not just your financial contributions, but you do write and comment on just about everything that I put up on Patreon, as far as growing the channel, as far as what direction to take things. So your opinions have really helped grow this channel and taking it to who knew I was going to do daily fucking vlogs, and now I'm, you know, thinking about the idea of daily live shows instead, which would take things to another level. It would be kind of like podcasts, daily vlogs, and live streams all thrown in together. So I am tossing around that idea. We'll see if we experiment with them. But so far, I'm enjoying the daily vlogs as they are, and I'm trying to streamline that workflow. And as you know, when I do normal videos, those daily vlogs won't be on those days. So, Chris H., how can you keep family and friends from trying to tell you to stop water fasting? You tell them to go fuck themselves. You know, that's what I do. I'm like, fuck you. I did it your way. We've been doing it your way for 50 years. Where'd it get us? Fat, unhealthy, miserable? You know, your way ain't working. Which is one of the reasons I started doing it my way. It's one of the ways you're probably doing it your way. You've tried all of that shit. You've done the low-calorie thing. You've done all of that crap. And you're looking for something that's easy, sustainable, that takes away your hunger, that makes you feel better. And anybody that wants to take that away from you because you're not doing it their way can go fuck themselves. It's really that simple. You know, now I am the kind of person that I have friends I can tell that to, so you might want to tailor that a little bit to the person you're talking to. But most of my friends I'm pretty blunt and straightforward with, and, you know, I don't mind telling them to go fuck themselves. They know I mean it in that context, you know, but, you know, I don't have patience for people telling me the wrong shit anymore, because I've done all of those things to try and improve health. And, you know, getting on the fuckmaster and lowering my fucking calories and tanking my metabolism while taking fucking meds to deal with my health issues and meds to deal with my mental health issues is not how I quite want to approach this. I also don't want to go down to the supplement store and spend hundreds of dollars on supplements that everyone's telling me I need to do to get healthy, when I have been supplement free throughout this process, with the exception of Epsom salt, which I do take baths in for magnesium while I'm keto adapting. So that's my answer to that. Let's see, skipping through here. Start a PS4 fund and get off the PC. No, I'm a PC gamer. I like my PC games. In fact, right now, I've been playing Divinity Original Sin 2, which is PC only, and it's probably one of the best role-playing games I've ever played. You know, beating out the likes of Baldur's Gate and even Skyrim for the amount of interest I have in it. Though that's a tough one. I still play Skyrim from time to time. But I'm not a console guy. I like the capability of gaming in 4K, which I do. And I like, you know, the titles. They're not, you know, they're a lot better. I've been a gamer a long time, so I hold gaming to a high standard, and I think over the past 10 years the standards of gaming have dropped to the point where I don't like gaming as much, mainly because there's not any good fucking games. They're all rehashed shit, and I'm at the point I don't want to waste my time on anything that's not epic. You know, if I play a game and it doesn't wow me, I don't want to fucking play it. So that's it for my gaming shit. I don't know that I'll ever bring my gaming shit to YouTube because there's just too much of that as it is. So, let's see. Your friends and family are always trying to get you to stop water fasting. Another thing that'll happen, Chris, is as you start getting results, as you start showing people that it's working, that you're not becoming, emaciated, and, that you're just losing weight, and you're not having to work very hard to lose the weight other than just not eating periodically. And, when you start to explore the ketogenic diet and other things, and you start showing people that it works, they're going to be like, he's having better results than I am. And what the fuck? He's not in the gym every fucking day like I am. Maybe he knows something. Eventually, people, if they really give a fuck, if they're not zealots about what they're doing, will take notice. They will decide to come over to the dark side of fasting and maybe even low carb, though that's pushing it because you're asking them to give up the addictive shit that everyone's addicted to. So, do you believe in Jesus Christ? I am not religious at all and have no desire to be. I've never, I do believe that something, I guess you could call me agnostic. I subscribe to no religion because most of the religions are, without getting into this fucking topic because it's a minefield for people getting upset and butthurt and miserable. But for me, it's not for me. Everyone else, have your religion. If it works for you, if you truly believe in it and that's your faith, by all means, it can only be good for you for the most part. I do have some disagreements about some of the violence associated with religion, but for the most part, I find it nice to just say I don't know shit. And I don't want to try and know shit in that department. I'm sure I'll get there someday, and we'll figure it all out when that time comes. But for now, if I make myself better here, if I help other people make themselves better here, I'm doing good. If I have good morals, if I don't, cause a lot of pain, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, I do piss people off, I do bad things from time to time that are maybe morally questionable, but for the most part, I try and be a good fucking human being. And I think anyone doing that, regardless of what religion or God they pray to, that is what's most important. It's treating your fellow man better, even when they're dicks to you. Treat them a little better. And I think every religion should take a page from that book, because right now there's all kinds of hate and misery in the world from religions hating anybody that's not them. So getting off of that minefield of, triggering subject, moving right on. So now I wouldn't go as far as what you're saying. Allow people their gods and their religion, Wes Derrickson, I'm glad to see you're here. I just want to take a moment that the awesome music that has replaced my intro, he's in the chat room right now. Wes Derrickson is doing music for the channel and helping me out in that regard, because we all know I am rhythmically challenged. I do sing and karaoke, but I'm probably, mediocre at best at that. I used to play keyboard a lot. However, I don't even have a keyboard right now, so I can't practice. And if you don't practice, you start to suck really bad. I used to be able to play Moonlight Sonata all the way through, and, now I'm lucky if I could play Mary Had a Fucking Little Lamb. I could still do chords, though. I still fuck around with chords whenever I'm around a keyboard. So my music has sucked. A lot of the music that you've heard prior to Wes's contribution were either, every once in a while I would go and get some public domain shit and put it in my videos, but a lot of them were things that I recorded probably about 13, 14 years ago during my motherfucking creative music phase. And if, I used to try to play guitar. I went out and tried to learn how to do all these instruments because I wanted to make my own music and sing, and I do enjoy singing. And that's why I have been a regular at a fucking karaoke bar for 8 years. 7 years? It might be 7 years. 7 or 8 years I've been a regular at a karaoke bar, because I literally still go there even though I don't drink anymore. Which is another thing you can do to improve your life, by the way. So, make a game called Fat Blaster, Iowa X has written. You ride the mighty fuckmaster. I actually have researched how to make games using the Unity engine. I've spent time learning how to do some basic things. In high school, I was programming computers and I wanted to do that for a living. However, mathematically, I'm not the best. And turns out it's very math intensive to program computer games, especially 3D ones and so on and so forth. It's gotten a lot easier over the years with things like Unity, but you know, it's very time consuming and it's a lot of time you have to invest before you even get any kind of payoff. And it's a saturated market. You know, if you look at Steam today and, you know, if you look at the App Store, you know, and Google and all of that, it's hard to get your shit out there. Now, granted, I could probably pimp out shit like that here, but then I would be spending all my time programming and not making videos. And for right now, videos I think are more of a value to life. But hey, someday if the channel grows to where I have a staff, I could probably, you know, have a software engineer or whatever come up with the apps and, you know, use them to further fasting lifestyle, you know, stuff like that. That would probably be the realm of software I would get into, but I don't have the time. I barely have time to make fucking videos and run the two other entrepreneurial things I do now. But it's not off the table. If any one of my shit goes bad, I might start spending time relearning to do that and trying to pursue that to, you know, market apps that help people do the shit that I pretty much do. So let's see what else we got here. Cynthia Porter, hi motherfuckers. Were you a Tom Petty fan? Yes, I did like Tom Petty. It's sad that he is passed. But a lot of artists that I've liked have passed. You know, you got Chris Cornell was a rough one for me because I was a huge Soundgarden fan. It sucks, you know, and a lot of them, I believe, are dying from preventable diseases that had they taken the steps that, you know, a lot of us here are taking to improve our health earlier in life, they wouldn't be in this mess. You know, I'm not saying that they will live forever, obviously, but the things they're dying from are things that you can push off till your 80s and 90s if you take care of yourself. That's not to say you don't do all that, get hit by a bus or, you know, some other, or in the case of Chris Cornell, he killed himself. But that could be, maybe, now this is controversial, but could the depression be related to his diet? Just asking the question. You know, because I have noticed on a ketogenic diet, my depressions aren't as bad. Was he taking drugs to manage it, either illegal or legal? You know, these are all things that I asked when I heard about it. So that's pretty much where I'm at with that. Alrighty. Wes, glad my broke ass could somehow contribute to the cause. That you did, and I do appreciate what you've done because you have spent time to make that music. And I'm just glad that I can help get your music out there. So that maybe you can become, you know, a full-time musician. Wouldn't that be nice? So, and I say pursue that because, you know, I held back from pursuing my creative things as a life for most of my life, and I regret it. You know, if I'd have done some of this stuff, you know, granted YouTube wasn't around, but, you know, video was, and I did go to film school for a little bit. And I kind of wonder what would have happened if I had continued along those lines. Maybe these videos wouldn't suck as much. So, Lori, what do you think of this idea that if you work 5 years and save 90% of your income during that time, you can retire? This is Mr. Money Mustache approach, or whatever his name is. Yeah, I don't want to wait till I'm almost dead to retire. I'd rather work the rest of my life in moderation, doing stuff like this, doing things that are meaningful to me to make a little bit of money, and be in semi-retirement status, as in I can take breaks whenever I want, as in I can, do what I want. I don't need the big house at the end of the road. I don't need all of that. I'm single. I don't have anybody to really leave that shit to anyway. And you can't take it with you. I would much rather be able to go places, travel, see different things. And I'm hoping that some of these businesses, a lot of the things I do can be done from the road. If you stop and take the time to do them, which I wasn't able to do as a truck driver. I still have that in my back pocket too. I can always get back in a truck and live in a truck and make shit tons of money. But I want time. And I want it now. I don't want to wait till I'm 65. I don't want to wait, till I'm 70, till I'm 80, because I think retiring at 65 is a little difficult at the moment. And that's pretty much where I'm at on that. All right. Susan Dale, I don't know, fucking I mess your name up. Any tips on how to fight craving on the first day back on fasting after a feast day / weekend? Don't eat the standard American fucking diet on your feast days, and you won't crave. I'm on a 36-hour fast day currently. My weight didn't shoot up after my feed days this week because I lowered the carbs even further by not eating nuts. And I am not craving shit. I'm good till tomorrow. Easily. It's not even a thing. What you eat determines the difficulties. If you eat a lot of carbs and sugar especially, you're going to feel it. You're going to crave it. You're going to want it. And you're going to do things that break your fast to get it. You have to get rid of it altogether to get rid of the addiction. And you're talking to a heavy-duty sugar addict here, and alcoholic over the years. And giving these things up cold turkey and not going back to the cheat window every time is going a long way. Now, granted, I'm keto adapting, but once that's over with, I'm going to be evaluating how often I want to have one of those cheat days, because it can't be nearly as often as I used to with the whole weekly or even every other weekly thing. I'm thinking once a season, for cheat days. So, but I also know that I can go and fix whatever damage I do. I just don't want to do a lot of damage so I don't have to do a lot of fixing. So that's the key. If you're fucking damaging yourself every week, you're going to have to spend the whole week fixing the damage and not making forward progress. Instead, if you don't fuck yourself up over the weekend, then it's all forward progress for the week instead of trying to make up for shit that you did wrong. That's just how I'm seeing it now. I didn't always see it that way. Let's see here. Sorry if I'm missing comments here, but they've been moving a little bit. Edward Hamilton, how is Uber going? Uber is okay. I'm trying to do a little bit less of it. I only do it as needed now. So it's strictly part-time, maybe 10, 20 hours, 20 hours some weeks and 10 hours other weeks. It really depends on my financial needs. But I only do it as needed now. And, I try not to overdo it because I like working on this channel, and I've dedicated a lot of time to this channel at the moment. And I want to keep doing that to keep it growing. So if I'm not driving the Uber, I can do that. Now, that being said, I do enjoy Uber. It's kind of an adventure. It's meeting new people. It's hearing how they're living, their lifestyle. They'll just talk. Even if they're not talking to you and they're talking amongst themselves, you hear little tidbits of how people live their lives, the things they do for enjoyment, the things they do, their belief structure, their financial beliefs. Today I talked to an aspiring actress that, is going to college and majoring in theater and wants to be in Broadway and all of that. And, I was able to share some of my views on lifestyle and being a creative for a living, and that it's not the most glorious financially at the beginning, unless you hit it lucky, but that it's very fulfilling when you compare it to the corporate world. Let's see here. West Diet must be working to keep a sugar mama. Let's see. That was Iowa. I must have missed some of the conversation. So I'm trying to look for questions to answer. Michael Parker, has giving up refraining on alcohol been hard? Nope. I haven't craved. I've gone to the bar a couple times and drank coffee or water. Fortunately, the bar I go to has coffee, and that's my go-to. That way, you kind of feel like you're participating socially. You got a drink that doesn't look like water in your hand, and you're enjoying it because it has caffeine in it. No sugar, obviously. I bring some of my sweetener occasionally and pour that in, or I just have some cream in it, and it's very, fulfilling. But overall, it's no, not yet. Not to say it won't happen, but for now, I'm good. That might change on my vacation, but I think I need to be sober most of the time, especially since I'm targeting my liver. And my passion for fixing my liver far outweighs any cravings at this point because I'm so close to normal body weight, normal waist measurement, that it would be stupid for me to undo it this late in the game after all I've done to get here. So, what else we got? Wes Derrickson, truth is, I haven't worked for the man in 10 years. I used to be an assistant store manager of Guitar Center in Richmond, Virginia. Shit took all of my time and sucked out my soul. So you did what I did early on. And that's getting out of the corporate world, getting away from bosses, getting away from slavery. Because that's all it is. You've been enslaved and you don't even know it because of the amount of money you think you need and the amount of time you need to take to get it. It keeps you going to work in jobs that you're fucking miserable in. And if you're miserable in your job, I would highly suggest working on downsizing your lifestyle so you don't have to work that job. And maybe you can do a lesser paying, more fulfilling job, or at least one that you don't hate. But if you love your job and you make good money, stick with it, I say. If you're happy working, you like what you do, it makes you fucking happy every day, it's fulfilling, so be it. I'm not advocating quitting a job that you love, even if it's making a lot of money. I'm advocating if you are miserable as fuck and your life sucks, that's an area you can address. And that's how much work for shitty fucking jobs that you hate you do. Because that's probably one of the biggest negative effectors of our mental health is working miserable jobs for miserable pricks for bosses. So that's what I say there. Let's see. How are we doing on time? Okay, I'm a little over time here. So I'm gonna wrap this up with a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna go into my when will I do this again spiel. And you guys can of course comment on that. I'll keep an eye out. Let's see. What do you think of drunks while sober? Iowa X asks. I think, I hope they don't do what I did. I hope they wake up at some point and realize what they're doing to themselves. And it took a while for me to figure that out. And probably it was very recent that I figured out alcohol was a real issue for me. That it did cause problems within my relationship that I was just in. It might have even been one of the factors that ended it. However, that's what I think. But at the same time, you can't change people. They are who they are. They are what they want to do what they want to do. In order for someone to change, you can't just go and say you're doing it wrong. They have to want to change. And you have to make it look good, what you're doing. Make it look appealing. And not saying fake it. I'm saying if it you're happy and you're living a great life and your health is on point and your mental health's on point, they're going to notice and maybe want to change as well. And maybe that'll lead them to start working on it. But in the meantime, you can't really preach to them because they're happy. They think they're happy with what they're doing despite the destruction of their health and their mental health in the process. They think that that's happiness. And I'm here to tell you as a recovering alcoholic and recovering sugarholic that that's not happiness. It's pleasure, and it's limited, and it gets less pleasurable as time goes on, the longer you do it. U-turn, are you going to do any medical tests like the CAC score? Yes, I will be doing a blood test next year. Hopefully by then I reach my goal and I can go in and get my blood work and be like, this is my blood work now. However, it should be noted that when I started this journey, my blood work wasn't that bad other than the pre-diabetic symptoms I was having. Just in the beginning, those went away right away. I had blood work probably about a month or two after I started intermittent fasting. And my numbers, according to their current, guidelines, were fine. Now, I would admit they don't know what the fuck they're talking about as far as LDL cholesterol and stuff like that. It's the HDL triglyceride ratio that's the biggest predictor for heart disease. But I did have a little bit of blood pressure fluctuation back then too, and that's gone. I haven't had any blood pressure issues. I'm spot on healthy. But blood work is coming. I'm going to do it before, my journey and, the hey, I got here. I'm just got to maintain part of my journey. But I'm not there yet. And I don't really want to bog myself down in measurements. I'd rather just see if I fucked up or not at the end. And if I fuck up, I fuck up. It's what can I do? I will say my life, and how I feel, and I don't get sick very often, and all of these things are just strong indicators and results that I don't necessarily need to know the numbers to know that I'm at least better now than I was. Definitely. So, all right, I think I got to wrap it up here. Let's see, we got one more question if we can find one. I already answered you. Actually, I think I've answered most of you already at some point. Oh, CS. How do you assess the condition of your liver and what has improved? The biggest thing to look for is the bulbous round belly. Even if it's smaller, it's still going to be very firm. It's around underneath your ribs, that section. You'll notice a roll there. And it's subtle in skinnier folks. But for us, me formerly being obese, it was a big bulbous round belly. And that is a strong indicator that you have a fatty liver. You can also go in and get ultrasounds or MRIs and take a look. But if you're having insulin resistance, if you're having metabolic issues, and you have diabetes or high blood pressure or any of the markers of metabolic syndrome, I'm willing to bet 99% of you that have those symptoms have a fatty liver at the root of it, because the liver is the center of metabolic disease. If you fix the liver, you reduce the chances of having metabolic disease. Not saying eliminate, but you'll get a lot older first. It won't happen when you're 30, when you're 40, when you're 50. It might happen when you're 70, 80, 90, which I could live with. I'd be happy with that. Genetics obviously play a role in how long you live before you succumb to these symptoms. But the thing is kids are getting these fucking illnesses. Kids, young folks, fatty liver, before they even fucking get to college. We got to wake the fuck up and fix that. Otherwise, for the first time this year in a long time, our life expectancy has dropped. And you may say, it's only a little number. Well, it's a big average, and if it goes down, that means a lot of motherfuckers are dying a lot sooner. We gotta fix that. So, all right. I think I did the best I could. We'll do more live shows, of course. More intimate live streams will be for on Patreon, where I can actually read every comment and answer every comment. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I got to most of the questions this time. If not, leave them in the comments of videos, and I do tend to, when a question catches my eye, I try and answer it on the channel, and also in the comments of this live stream. If you didn't make it here, or you were here and I didn't get to you, leave a comment and I'll try and get to you when I have time, and so on and so forth. I'm going to try and do more of these as time goes on. Like I said, I'm tossing around the idea of daily live shows to replace daily vlogs, because quite honestly, this is kind of easier to produce than the vlogs, because I can literally set up the camera, the lights, and go live. And now it would be random. I wouldn't schedule stuff like this, but you could watch them after the fact. A little bit lower quality video, but I would be able to talk a little bit more about things and get them out in real time, so that when I'm done recording, it's already out there. And these are things that, if I can figure out a way to do it mobily too, that's the real thing. I don't want all my vlogs, daily vlogs, to be in this fucking room. I'd like to go out into the world. And maybe I can just alternate between the two, like either do a live stream when I'm just doing a talking head type thing, and then if I'm going out in the world, do a vlog out there, and so on and so forth. But for those of you new to the daily vlog thing, it's Monday through Friday. If I do a regular video or a live stream, it is a replacement for that day's vlog. There may come times where I preload videos so that you have something to watch when I'm just too busy with life to produce a daily vlog. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'm working with my patrons to try and make the decisions on where to go with these things. But for right now, the Monday through Friday motherfucking daily vlog is the show. Eventually I might transition to that, to a live stream, and I'm going to call it Scott the Truck Driver Live. Really fucking creative, isn't it? So thank you for all of you who showed up in the chat. Thank you, Ron, for the super chat. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats while I'm here. Alrighty. So yeah, thank you, Ron, for your support of this live show and of all my content and all the things you have done. And I just fucking completely lost. What the hell? It's supposed to open another window, and it opened up 2 fucking windows. See, this is what happens when you go live. Oh, wait, there it is. All right. So, thank you, Ron, for your support, and thank you all my patrons. If I didn't name you all in here, I apologize. Normal videos will, of course, credit producers and whatnot and so forth. Oh, Dawn is another contributor from Patreon and just donated a $5 super chat. Thank you, Dawn, for these. Everything helps. I like having my tip jar. I hope you guys enjoyed today's live stream. I really thought a lot about it before I got on here, the things I was going to talk about. And yeah, it's not perfect. And this is a process for me. I'm not used to being live and not editing, my videos, and my public speaking ability is questionable, which is what you kind of have to go live, is a good public speaking ability. But thankfully I like to fucking talk, so that helps. I can just keep talking. But thank you all for coming, and I do appreciate everything that you guys have done, not just as a financial contribution, but a lot of your comments help keep me on track. You guys are my accountability. That keeps me from saying fuck it. And, because now I think about, if I'm going to go to a bar, I'm like, I better not drink, because I'm going to have a lot of disappointed motherfuckers in me. And it's the same thing with sugar and carbs and weight gain. And you guys are keeping me on point, keeping me accountable to improve my health, my wellness, and to know that by doing these things to help my life, that I'm also helping a lot of you. And that's what keeps me going, because life hasn't handed me a lot of attaboys, a lot of great things. I do have some really great things in my life, but there was a lot of shit things in my life over the years that could just easily send me down that depressed rabbit hole of fuck it. So thank you all. But remember, I'm not a motherfucking expert. Just a motherfucking asshole. So this is the live shit. It's awesome and shit. Have a nice motherfucking day. shit. Or night. It's nighttime, isn't it? My bad. See y'all next time.